it's Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. Welcome back. Well, we are going to talk today about the fifth strategy in the responsive teaching strategies toolbox. There you have it. And this strategy, as you no doubt saw from the title, is matching. The idea behind matching is that we match our interactions with the child to the child's developmental level, the child's interests, and the child's style of interaction, the child's personal behavioral style. If you know anything about the floor time / DIR model by Greenspan and Weider, I'll put some links on that down below. It is one of my very favorite methods for organizing our thoughts around interacting with kids who have various different delays. It is kind of a tough model to come to terms with because there's so much information and it really informs your whole style of interacting with kids. But one of the things it's really good at is focusing on the I portion of the DIR, which is individual differences. I think I will maybe do some videos on the DIR model because it is my favorite and I love it so much. So maybe I can do a series on the basics of that. But in the meantime, just let me say that individual differences are very important because I am an individual. My child is an individual. And we have various, very unique ways of interacting with the world and with other people. And if I don't take that into account, my child isn't going to respond as well to me, and I'm not going to understand my child as well as I could. For example, if my child is very interested in sensory inputs, in touching things, smelling things, feeling the walls, running into the walls, if that is the style of play, that sensory exploration is the style of play that my child is interested in, then my trying to convince him to come over and play with the dollhouse with me in where the characters are interacting with each other and they're getting in the car and going to school, that sort of open-ended play is not going to be effective in engaging my child who has a sensory exploration style of play. I need to keep those individual differences in mind or we're not going to have a good match between me and my child. And it's very important to have a good match because of course we can't communicate if we're communicating on different levels or if we're trying to communicate on different levels. We need to make sure that we are tuning in to the child's wavelength. And then, as I mentioned in previous videos in this series and elsewhere, and then we take it up just a notch. So if my child likes to feel the walls and just walks around the house feeling the walls, then that is where we start. I also walk around the house feeling the walls, perhaps in the opposite direction to the direction my child is going, and we crash hands every once in a while. I feel the wall also, maybe at the same time and in the same place as my child, and then I start making a noise, brrrrump, brrrrump, or wee, wee. I made it noisy when it wasn't noisy before. And with the crashing into each other's hands, I just made it interactive, and it wasn't interactive before. It doesn't have to be complex. I want to get involved where my child currently is, and then raise it up just a little bit. Tune into my child's wavelength, and then amplify it a little bit. That may not be the right technical way of thinking about it, I guess, but it's a good way to think about it nonetheless. Once again, my child has to be trained to tune into people. If he is normally tuned into the sensory world around him, but not interactions with other people, then he's missing out on a good deal of learning that could be taking place. So, tip number 5 from the Responsive Teaching Strategies Manual is match. Match your style of interaction to your particular child. Also, I should mention, you should also be matching your affect. We talked about affect in a previous video, and affect is something that can be tricky for kids with different diagnoses, with different needs. Some kids are very sensitive to loud voices, sudden movements, a lot of facial expression, and in those cases, we need to turn it down a little bit. If my child is shying away from me, if my child is physically trying to get away from me all the time, it's probable that my style of interaction is too big, too much, too loud for that particular child. If my child is real droopy and doesn't pay attention no matter what I do, then I probably need to turn it up a notch. I need to be more exciting. I need to be bigger and louder. I need to have flashing lights and wear funny hats and maybe a mask. Not just the COVID-19 masks, but funny masks, like a superhero mask or a rabbit. Those kind of masks. I need to be bigger. If my child shies away from me, I need to be calmer, more steady, with a softer voice, not as much change in pitch, not as much change in my facial features and gestures, not as big of gestures with my hands, maybe not move around so much. And if my child is undersensitive and just kind of can't tune in, I need to have more of all of those. And I will tell you that it is very rare in my almost 20 years of experience in this field that I have had kids who were seriously oversensitive. Most kids, I specialize in autism, and most of the kids that I've worked with are undersensitive. I need to be bigger rather than quieter. But the opposite kids do exist. So gauge your child in the area of affect, gauge your child's interests, gauge your child's personality and style of play, and make sure that you are matching your style of play and communication and interaction with your child's individuality. Thank you. You made it through this wonderful series on the responsive teaching method, and I'm proud of you. Yay! I hope you are surviving. If you are in lockdown, if you are in quarantine, please stay healthy. Do whatever you can to treat yourself today. I value you. I know you are a huge blessing to your kids and to the other people in your life too. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.